Thank you for joining our webinar today. We'll be focused on sharing what's coming next for Microsoft's Project for the Web solution. My name is Annie Levand, and I'm with a Microsoft Gold partner called PROJILITY. We've been implementing Microsoft project and portfolio management solutions for over 17 years for large enterprises, including everything from engineering, construction, IT, and new product development. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all their projects. They don't know what resources are working on what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports and metrics to make project-based decisions. We're known for having a 98% on-time budget track record for successfully implementing these solutions for clients. We offer service solutions in 3 core areas. Deployment and consulting services, PROJILITY's core business. We provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, integrating PPM with a line of business applications, and delivering strategic portfolio management solutions to support top-level management planning. We also have a growing Microsoft Power Platform practice where we are actively working with clients to build applications, workflows, and reports to automate their most important business processes. PROJILITY offers a set of pre-built software solutions and accelerators based upon 17 years of experience, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved access to cloud PPM data, accelerate access to visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, connect data between your PPM system with Microsoft Teams, and extend connectivity into Active Directory to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. Finally, PROJILITY provides post-implementation support services, including expert care, designed to assist your PMO with gaining on-demand expertise on the solution supported. We also have a full online automated e-learning offering that can improve consistency and adoption for your users of project management tools. We do have a set of upcoming webinars covering different PPM and project management related topics. We are hosting our second annual PROJILITY Fall Virtual Project Conference on October 13th, where we will have speakers from Abercrombie & Fitch, the state of Indiana, and Microsoft sharing insight and best practices into the use and adoption of your project management and PPM solutions. You won't want to miss it. All webinars will start at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can register for one or multiple events through the Eventbrite link provided, or by searching Eventbrite PROJILITY in your browser. Hope you can join us for these sessions, which were designed upon based your feedback over the last 6 months. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practice playlist on YouTube listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with an agile and line of business applications. Feel free to subscribe and access this library at any time and share with your colleagues. With that, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Rob Hirschman, partner at PROJILITY, who is going to go through our content. Rob, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So today's session is a little bit unique in that we got a lot of requests from folks wanting to know from a project for the web perspective, what's coming next, what's some of the functionality we see, where's the vision, and where is the product actually going? So that's what we put together for you today. We're going to be going through a quick overview of what Project for the Web is, talk through some of the current functionality and changes that have happened over the last 12 months of the product, talk a little bit about what we think is coming based on the feedback we're getting and what we're hearing from Microsoft and other publicly available channels. And we'll talk about how you can go about planning and deploying Project for the Web. A disclaimer before we get into this. So all the information gathered and shared today is really based on information that's available publicly in different sources. With any software product and any software company, especially with Microsoft, things like functionality, things like update, things like timing are all subject to change. It really depends on what they end up releasing and what the release schedule is over the next 6, 12, 18 months. So while we don't have specifics on when things will happen, we do know that certain things there are certain focus areas they are focused on today. And our goal really is to provide you with really a sense of what's coming from an investment perspective so you can get a sense for where the product is going around Project for the Web. So we'll do our best to share with you what we know and what we think is coming next. And as most of you know, Microsoft, the team that builds Project, actually builds 3 discrete products. They build Microsoft Planner on the bottom left, which is really designed for information workers that are looking to do work-based collaboration, more advanced work management where a task list isn't enough. They want to visualize that information. When you graduate into more formal project management tools, that's where we're looking at one of the tools above that. Project Online, Microsoft's full project portfolio management solution, has been out for years and is really very much a very mature product. What we're talking about now is the tool in the middle, Microsoft Project for the Web. And this is the pure web-based tool available through Office 365 that's designed for the casual or business project manager. That's defined as someone who doesn't have a lot of project management expertise, but needs to do project management as a part of their job. Maybe that's someone in finance or operations or human resources that may come to IT and say, hey, I need a project management tool, or they may go and find one on the web, but they're not up to the maturity or the complexity of the needs of a Microsoft Project Desktop or a Project Online solution. This solution is designed specifically for that audience, for small, lightweight projects, for people that want to be much more fluid with their project management, that don't want to need a lot of training around the solution. It is built on something called the Microsoft Power Platform. It is modern and dynamic, and it comes through with Office 365, and there is no desktop client. So we're going to be focused really on Project for the Web in today's session, what that product is, where it's going, and where we think it's headed. If we look at the vision that came over from the product team, and they established this a couple of years ago, they tend to look at it as more about what modern work management. They look at, giving teams the ability to work in the way they want to work with tools that are very visual, very intuitive, but also very flexible, but also give executives the information they need to make business decisions to get results. And Microsoft Project fits directly into this vision. It's really all about, as you can read here, empowering organizations to achieve better results by aligning their projects, their resources, and their work, but doing it in a flexible, agile way and allow people to collaborate together. And that was really the core tenet for the product team about 4.5 years ago when they went forward and said, hey, we're going to build a new version of Project. We want it to be different. We want it to really be focused on the way we see these business or casual project managers in the marketplace starting to use tools. That's what it is today. So if we look at where Project for the Web is today, there's a couple of core components of Project for the Web. The first one is the core scheduling tool. And this is where Microsoft took what was a Microsoft Project on the desktop and really limited it down to a couple of basic functional needs that they found most casual or business project managers needed. They needed the ability to build a project with a series of tasks within it. Those tasks need to have relationships between them, things like start and finish date. You want to put those tasks into different buckets so you can actually look at who's assigned to what, when things are due, when things are overdue, and then the ability to assign team members to tasks. And that's pretty much it. That's what the core Project for the Web scheduling tool is really designed to do today. So from a functionality perspective, that's basic web-based scheduling for someone that needs to build a work plan, maybe assign some people to it and track their progress. You'll see below that the license associated with this is called Project Plan 1. That's the license someone who plays the role of a project manager needs to build and manage the project. Anybody who's going in and viewing the project or just looking at tasks that may be assigned to them, they just need an Office 365 E3 or E5 license to view and update those tasks. So at the foundation of it all, it's all about having a basic schedule, a work plan. Then Microsoft extends that out, and this is where the Power Platform becomes very, very viable and really very powerful. They give you the ability to build out a solution on top of it. So you're going to be able to build what we call custom tables, which are part of the Power App, which sit in something called the Dataverse. Those could be things to capture and update information on projects. It could be metadata about projects. It could be workflows about projects. Some examples of that, which just showed up on the screen. Maybe you want to track issues on projects or risks on projects or changes or the status of a project or costs. Those would all be planned and deployed as tables in the Project Power App along with the schedule below it. And then you can extend that out over time to build a more complete solution. And this is what Microsoft talks about when they think about the flexibility. So if I wanted someone to go in and just build a schedule, the core scheduling engine in green is fine. If you want to extend that out, you start using that Power App. And as long as you're using up to 5 tables, no more than 5, you can use that Project Plan 1 license and stick to the licensing below that. Once you extend that out to use between 5 and 15 custom tables, and this is where it gets into a design element. What is your solution? That's where you need a different license. That's where the Project Plan 3 license that you would traditionally use for Microsoft Project Desktop or Project Online would come into play. So that's a multi-purpose license. Finally, if you want to go beyond the 15 tables, go 15 and up, that's where you need a Project Plan 5 license. Again, this is for capturing and updating project-related metadata and information. All of the data here, whether it's in the core schedule or in the Power App, is all available for reporting and dashboards through Power BI. So you can report on just progress on the schedule, what tasks are assigned to who, what's the status of those, or you could extend it out and build integrated status reports that show you issues and risks and changes along with schedule information next to it. So it's a pretty powerful way to extend the solution out. Some of the deltas, people say, well, when would I use this or Project Online? Well, some of the deltas are if you're trying to do medium to large size schedules, Project Online is probably a better fit. It's really designed for tasks that schedules that have tasks under 500 in count that are fairly simple and flexible. Also, if you want to do any resource management, capacity planning, utilization planning, detailed schedules around resources, that's something that Project for the Web today doesn't support, even with some basic booking functions. If you wanted team members to come in into a My Task or a timesheet, that's a Project Online thing. But if you want people to come in and just click on a task and update a task, Project for the Web will work. And finally, if you wanted to do any portfolio or program or strategic management, that's again more of a Project Online thing. Project for the Web, again, is targeting that business or casual project manager market and starting to grow up a little bit here. So when we look at the different areas Microsoft is investing in, there's really 8 core areas that they look at. And starting from the far left, they look at collaboration and customization. How are people able to work together using these tools? And how can I customize the tool to meet specific needs I have? The second one, which may be blatantly obvious, is project management. Project management functionality to build schedules, to track progress, to track milestones and dependencies, and things that when Project for the Web first came out, it had a very, very basic set of functions. Microsoft is getting a lot of feedback that, hey, we're looking for some enhancements here. So they're starting to build and release that functionality now. Deployment and administration, when I start looking at it, not only looking at a scheduling tool, but now our Power Apps environment that has a Dataverse behind it. Where do I put that? How do I deploy that? Do I want multiple environments? Who's going to administer it and how are they going to administer it? There's a lot of considerations there, and that's something Microsoft is planning for. Extensibility is a big, big request. What if I have information in my Dynamics system or I have information in the HR system and I want to integrate it with Project for the Web data? Well, making the platform extensible is a big deal, and having an API and data available to integrate it is important. Going down from there on the far left, we look at resource management, and this is kind of a further out vision, but really being able to do some of the resource management capabilities that are out there to plan utilization and capacity and role-based resourcing, stuff that's not there today, that's there in Project Online. We may start to see some of that emerge. The team member experience is a huge area of investment right now. And that's because when Microsoft first released the product, their vision really was, hey, let's get, casual or business project managers using these tools. They got a lot of feedback, said, hey, I assign tasks out to people. I want them to see all their tasks in one place. That wasn't a use case initially. And that's not a use case typically for a lot of these lighter touch project management tools. But Microsoft said, hey, great feedback. Thank you. We're going to build that. And they've been building functionality focused on the team member experience as well. Team members play a role in the process. Government cloud. This is really important for anybody in state and local government, federal government, even education clouds. The solution wasn't designed to support that initially, and it, had some release updates in the last year to support that. So now there is government community cloud support. And finally, people management, kind of stepping away from the complexity of resource management to how do I just manage what people are doing? The people management aspect of it and simplifying that is another area Microsoft's looking at. These are the 8 areas of investment as of today. So if we look at what's happened really over the last 8 to 12 months in each of these areas, we look at collaboration and customization. These are some of the updates that Microsoft has made to Project for the Web. The first and a pretty important one is creating apps for Microsoft for Project for the Web and Roadmap that live in Teams. So if you go into Teams today, you click on the little apps button and you type in Project or Roadmap, the app that comes up connects directly into Project for the Web. So that was a big ask because a lot of organizations, global organizations, are using Teams. They wanted ways to easily access and visualize information within and across their projects. Microsoft released the ability to do at a local level, task level custom fields. This was a big one, to be able to go in there and create a custom field on a task or an activity so you can actually track details on that. The ability to share projects to different groups without them having to be part of an Office 365 group, that was a big deal, big request. Again, a lot of these came from requests from end users on the Microsoft website. The ability to attach documents. Every project involves deliverables and documents and artifacts. So Microsoft linked this into SharePoint Online. That's all available through Teams. So you can either link in a document or attach it. Email notifications. So when somebody is assigned to a project, then they would get a notification on that project. And then finally, allowing guest users into the environment. This is a big, big ask. If you have people that are coming in maybe as contractors or vendors, they want to collaborate on projects, and also doing app mentions in Microsoft Teams. A lot of changes have happened to the project management component. A lot of the feedback was we want more. At the end of the day, it's a project management tool. People want more tools to plan and manage their projects and their activities. First update that came out, the ability to export your timeline in Microsoft Project for the Web into a PDF. Big deal, getting data out of the web into a document format. The ability to tap Power BI reports, not only to your project data, but also your roadmap data that's there as well. And that was a connection that was made through Power BI and Microsoft Project for the Web. How about the people that have Microsoft project schedules and they want to get them into the tool? Well, they actually built an import tool where you can go into import your project directly from Microsoft project file, and it becomes a project for the web project. They added some enhanced filtering around people in different stages of work. And they also started to get a lot of feedback that there's some things that people really loved in Planner, like checklists, labels, and coloring. And they said, hey, let's move that into Project for the Web. So they've been upscaling that functionality into the Project for the Web. And finally, the ability to color different fields in different colors, or red, yellow, green, so people can visually see what's going on. Additionally, over the last 12 months, we've seen an update to the team member experience. Now, this isn't the full experience, but just the first step is actually assigning team members to tasks. And as long as they're a member of the project, they would get notified that they have those tasks, and they can go in there and they can update their progress on those tasks. Step one, deployment and administration, the ability to run multiple environments. One of the best practices from the Power Platform, if you read their guidance, is don't put anything in the default environment. Well, when I stand up Project for the Web for the first time, it's in the default environment. So I should actually be setting up a development or a production environment outside of default and run it there. And that's where people can access their information. That's a big deal. And setting it up and having an environment strategy, because it is a Power Platform app, is a big deal. Extensibility, being able to actually push and pull data into the back end of the tool. Getting data entities from Project for the Web into the Project Power app. That was a good first step. And now there's an API to support accessing project level information. Resource management is another one. And Microsoft took some of the functionality they had over in Dynamics, Project Operations, moved it over in Project for the Web. It's called Bookings. It's a way to do high level calendaring on different kinds of resources, really across projects. And finally, government cloud support. This was a big ask. Project for the Web launched about 3 years ago. It just hit the GCC this year, the Government Community Cloud, which is where state and local government organizations, as well as the federal government, live. It is targeted to be in the Department of Defense and the high cloud in the next 6 to 12 months as well. So that's a lot of the progress we've seen in the last 12 months. A lot of people say, well, not a lot has changed. There have been a lot of changes to the product. So the big question, and why everybody's here today, what's coming next? Well, a lot of it gets back to the big asks. If we look at the different areas people are asking for more functionality in from Microsoft, it really focuses on the same areas, but more functionality. The first of those is that team member experience. A lot of people are putting in requests. Hey, we want a way to get our project tasks into maybe a planner plan or task for teams, or just a way to get it all into one big task list for team members so they don't have to go into 5 different projects. That's a work in progress and something Microsoft has been working on for quite some time. Microsoft is actually about to release something around resource management or people management called the People View. We'll show you that in a second. And that's a way you can actually look at all the work a person has within a project. Around project management, again, more investments here, calendar improvements, so you can create different calendars for different projects. Wasn't available when the product launched, it's going to be available. Time phasing of data, not just looking at, how many hours did I do on the project, but how many hours were done on different days or different weeks or different months, so you can see the phasing of the work. Also, Microsoft has made a pretty big investment in Agile support. Everything we've heard is they're looking at putting tasks and activities into visual sprints, being able to do Kanbaning with the different project information you have, as well as different kinds of activities around features and epics. Also, Microsoft has got a lot of feedback that, hey, 500 tasks may not be enough. They're working to increase that task limit. We're not exactly sure where that'll land, but it'll definitely be over 500 per project. And finally, kind of a new one is goals. There have been a lot of changes on the Microsoft side when they went out and they bought this product which is now called Viva Goals. Well, how does that tie into project management? Right now, it's focused on HR management and people management, but Microsoft is actually looking at pulling these tools together. Again, around project management, the concept of a baseline, or they're calling it a snapshot, the ability to create a project from a planner plan. Let's say you have planner activities, but you want to upgrade that into a project. It grows up into a project. How about a one-click upgrade? And that's something they've been working on. The ability to create what we call task constraints. So tasks can't go past a certain date. It's not a purely dynamic schedule. You can actually set constraints on that. And finally, the ability to set at an enterprise level custom columns. Right now, they're local to each project, but the ability to set a custom column that applies to every project. And that's really big for consistency and reporting. Around administration, we've heard rumors that they are working on some kind of a centralized administrative center for Project for the Web. Question mark there. Is it going to be done or not? We just don't know. Again, this is all dependent on the investments and the timing from Microsoft. Around collaboration and communication, one of the big requests is, it's great that I got an email notification of a task was assigned to me, but why don't you notify me when it's coming due or when it's late? They're working on that as well and building that into the product. And finally, some other things they're working on, the integration with Viva Goals, thinking about pulling KPIs and metrics and goals and strategies into your projects and not just have the project be the work in progress. They're also looking at ways to get better cross-project resource views. Hey, are people working on different projects and what is their utilization beyond just a report? And finally, from a project for the web perspective, today you're either a creator or you're a viewer. Well, Microsoft is working through the whole concept of role-based security and access, kind of like you'd have in Project Online, what that might look like in a project for the web environment in the future. So if we look forward, these are some of the areas that were asks from a lot of customers and a lot of people coming in and saying, hey, these were the top requests, which we've been tracking. And this is some of the feedback we've gotten from some of the public sites. So on some of the blogs and the Office 365 roadmap, and you can see if you go to that site at the bottom, you click on it and you just search for project, you'll see what's work in progress, what's already been launched, and what's about to be launched. So there's a lot of information out there. If you want to learn more, just subscribe to that site and get updated. Additionally, as new functionality is updated, Microsoft first puts it in beta. So a lot of us partners get access to these betas. And here is a view of one of the beta functions they've been releasing called the People View. So if we look at it in Microsoft Project for the Web, you have a grid, a board, a timeline, and a recently released chart. Well, now there's going to be a people chart. And that people chart is going to show you for each resource working on the project. You'll see them down at the bottom, all the tasks and activities they have on this particular project. These kind of views are very good for organizing the team, getting them on a Teams call, going through all of this, making sure progress is happening, and then moving on to the next set of activities and projects. Additionally, you'll see on the left something called unassigned. So if I have tasks that are not assigned to somebody, then I should know that are orphan tasks are sitting out there. So we get these in beta, we see them in beta, and then they'll be released over the next couple of months into the production environments. So that's really a view of kind of what the investment areas and what we believe is coming next for Microsoft Project for the Web. So if you're considering Project for the Web, maybe you have Project Online and maybe you have some use cases for lighter touch project management, or maybe you think this might be a good solution for where you are today, there's a couple things we definitely recommend you take a look at. The first thing is the why. With any new system, you want to think about what is the use case and who are the users going to be for the application? What do they really need? What are their business requirements? And see if Project for the Web can meet those requirements. You're also going to need some kind of interested stakeholder, department, or business owner that wants to use a solution. Maybe they're using a tool from a third party and you want to get them onto a Microsoft platform, or maybe they just don't have any tool at all. They're using Excel and they need a better way to organize their information. Again, Project for the Web is really well suited for business projects. For folks that don't have a really deep project management background that are going to come to you with a list of 50 requirements, they just want to track dates, tasks, people, milestones, and get some basic reports out of that. Project for the Web is a great fit. You're going to need to target certain projects that you're going to want to get into the system to start piloting that solution out. So what are the projects or the programs you want to support? You have to find people that are interested in taking time to pilot the solution. The solution isn't going to work itself. You're going to have to get people to use it, to put their data in, to manage that data and manage that information so you can get useful reporting out of the tool and use the tool and make good use of your investment. Another thing we're seeing in the marketplace is a lot of organizations are starting to outgrow Smartsheet or Asana. Maybe the pricing has increased over the last 2 or 3 years. Maybe you've got these out of control use cases, or maybe you just have no control over how people are using these tools. You want to kind of rein that in, and you want to get better centralization. So people aren't just working on thousands of sheets out there and you have no idea what the data is. Well, if you're outgrowing Smartsheet or Asana, this is a really good way of thinking about using Project for the Web. Maybe you already own the licensing. Maybe you've already got Plan 3 and Plan 5s, which, by the way, they already grandfather you into a Plan 1, or maybe you bought a bunch of Plan 1s on your last enterprise agreement. You want to start using them. Now, leverage a lot of the licenses and investments you have. And the key here is that Microsoft Project Plan 1 license is the core Project for the Web service license for the people who are going to manage projects. Anybody who's not managing a project, assuming they're viewing or just updating tasks or looking at a roadmap, they can use an Office 365 license, either an E3 or an E5, and that gets them what's called team member access to the information. They can change their own stuff, but they can't change a whole plan. And that's really the difference. If you have these licenses, it's a good start. If you already have the Plan 3 or the Plan 5 through your existing agreements, or are using Project Professional or Project Online, you can extend this out and you can use those licenses as a dual purpose to extend it out and start using the Power Platform to build a project management application on top of Project for the Web. And that's really the design of the application to provide that flexibility. You're also going to have to start thinking about platform support. Because this sits not on SharePoint, But if you're just supporting the project for the web scheduling tool, that's kind of an out of the box thing. But it does sit on the Power Platform, and the Power Platform has its own rules, its own governance. It has a database behind the scenes called Dataverse. You want to think about an environment strategy. So if your organization is already going down the road with Power Platform, this is yet another application that'll fit into this. If you haven't gone down the road yet, again, you're gonna have to start thinking about how does this fit into our overall strategy and goals for Power Platform? How am I going to support this platform, even if I use it in its most basic form? People are going to ask for reports and dashboards and customization and integration. Next thing you know, you've got an enterprise application on your hands. So start thinking about that early. So if you're thinking about going down the road for a project for the web, these are some of the things you want to start considering and planning around. So hopefully today we gave you a good feeling for what's possible, what Project for the Web has today, where we believe it's going, what some of the Microsoft investment areas are, and helping you plan for the future. With that, we'll open the floor to any questions. Annie, we'll let folks log questions in the Q&A manager. See if anybody has any questions.
Type now or forever hold your peace. To learn more about how PROJILITY can assist you with evaluating or deploying Project for the Web, or to come up with a plan for implementation, reach out. We'll set up a time to review your needs. I'm Annie Levan with PROJILITY. My contact information is listed here. Thank you for attending our webinar today. Have a great day.